Hey everybody, welcome back to Muramasa the Demon's Blade. This is Arashimaru Part 3. I apologize in advance for the long video length. Also, since I did a lot of the post-game, this dialogue sequence here sucks. Because in order to fast travel, you need to talk to your partner. And this is 4 windows of text I had to mash through just to teleport across Japan.
Huh.
Unlike in Okoi where it's just 1 line, or in a gun-based plot it's 2. Arashimaru has 4. Also, we are here in Yamato District. Now, in order to get to the dungeon, you actually have to finish this fight, or else you can't open the door, I believe? I never actually check. Yeah, this is just...
You typically can't interact with other things if enemies spawn on the same screen, but it doesn't really happen often enough.
Yeah, so I'm not quite 100% sure. Yeah, one thing I always have a problem with is dealing with ninja bombs, especially when they do the revenge trick there. I don't know if that's a thing in the legend mode at all, but it's happened so many times in Chaos that it's just frustrating to deal with.
I'm pretty sure even on the easier difficulties they drop bombs when they fall over.
Yeah, probably.
At least the elite ninja do.
Now, this chapter right here, this was the first exposure I had to, the DLC. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, everything for this, like, final bit is fucking stellar. And it's the reason why I decided to buy the DLC, LP it, go through the circuitous means of capturing a Vita TV for recording, just to record this DLC, because it's wonderful. First of all, it's the music. Like, when the music gets to the build-up, the music is great. I believe at this point I actually get the 5% souls acquisition. Yeah, and as for fights like this, I'm not even gonna bother anymore if it has elite ninjas, because good god, those are the biggest chore to fight, just because they could be invincible whenever they want to be. Luckily, these gunner undead zombie dudes, they're really easy to deal with because they not only hit stun easily, they don't move. It's so wonderful.
Unless you accidentally dash attack.
I don't even think dash attacking does it, aside from dropping your combo. They still stay there. I love the fact that the skeleton army just has a skull as their flag. It's so goofy.
They're members of Team Skull.
Yes. Led by Skullmageddon.
Or Skullmania.
Oh man. That's a Street Fighter character I want to see again. Only used him once.
I don't even know if Capcom owns Skullmania.
They probably don't, which is why they don't use him. Like, it would make sense because Street Fighter EX is the one game nobody ever talks about, and Capcom never wants to address.
Because I think it was actually developed by Arika, not by Capcom. Could be wrong there.
I got a friend who really likes fighting games a lot, like the history and shit of it. I'll have to ask him later. Now, another enemy I used to gripe about in the main campaign was the black versions of these enemies, because they never stopped attacking. For Arashimaru, I believe it's not so hard, just because he has such a long range to his attacks that it doesn't matter. Purple versions are not that bad because they like to focus on range attacks, but the black ones just never stop melee attacking, and it's obnoxious. It's a little ridiculous that I could not only get attacks off consistently, but I could also reflect bullets without a problem.
Getting auto aim on this seems pretty good.
Oh, I think I might be thinking of Ganbei because I just straight up run away from that black one. Because I know what's coming. It's death. I don't know if you ever saw this, but like those black goblin dudes, their attacks knock you down, and once they get an attack going, they'll never stop.
Oh. So if you can't jump out of it, you're just done.
Yeah. And they do a lot of damage. I think that one did 300.
Ugh.
We saw this in the first chapter of Momohime, but I'm kind of glad that they brought it back just because it's such a neat-looking tile set. I think someone in the essay thread mentioned that either in Japan or just in general, purple is often seen as a color of death, so it's nice that they use it for a dead village.
It's especially weird because, like, purple's a warm color.
Is it?
Which implies... I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, look at this.
It's not a cold color.
Yeah, I got kind of mixed up there because I was trying to get something, but I accidentally pressed attack, and then I went back into the room, and then I went back out.
Just, like, completely goofed some enemy spawns.
So this is fun. The sickle spin, while not all that damaging, it's so far range that you can just chump these enemies. You don't even have to play Dead Man's Volley with them, you can just straight up attack them.
Huh.
All of the DLC characters have some form of way of attacking those things without actually playing their dumb game. It's pretty refreshing, not gonna lie. Because in the main...
Yeah, those are kind of a pace killer when it comes to just going on a complete killing spree in this game.
Like, it's fun the first time, you're like, oh, it's Dead Man's Volley, I love doing this game. Then you get to, like, the 5th chapter out of it, and you're like, oh, you guys again, hi. Like, I honestly think they were programmed specifically to be a counter to the main campaign, because it doesn't seem like they were at all considered when developing these new characters.
I don't know, it feels like a cool parallel. Like they definitely did it deliberately.
Yeah.
Just to show off like, hey, we're good game designers, look at the different ways we can make you fight these things.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I never thought of that.
Now you can just cheat.
You don't even have to play our dumb game anymore. We're sorry.
Just making things feel like you're cheating. Even though you're not, you're just playing the game.
A kind of weird thing I've been seeing on certain message boards lately is that people are enjoying Vanillaware a lot more. Everybody's going wild over Odin Sphere. They like Dragon's Crown a lot. Everybody's like begging for PC ports. But the weirdest thing is I've been seeing a weird trend of people saying, when are we going to get Muramasa Rebirth Remake? And I'm just like, what?
It's not happening.
You already got it. Like, this is it right here. This DLC. This is your Muramasa Leaf Thrasir.
Just buy a PS TV. They're like $50.
Not even. I got mine for 20.
I paid like a lot more for mine, but
yeah.
I pay the Australia tax.
Yeah.
So
getting anything in Australia is expensive, and I'm sorry.
I think I could have actually gotten it shipped from Amazon for cheaper.
Probably. But yeah.
I remember buying it because I could play around with the email hack.
Email?
Enable a whole bunch of... So, the PS TV maintains a whitelist for what games can be played on it.
Oh, I heard of this actually. I think, shit, I think Jadestar was talking about this actually.
Yeah, and people found an exploit that you could open attachments in the PS Vita mail app that were executables, and so you could do it, you could open strange files on the Vita TV the same way the mail bomb hack worked with the Nintendo Wii.
Huh.
And Sony patched it out and redid the whitelist. It had a whole bunch more games on it. I don't know if they've redone the whitelist since.
That's actually interesting to know. I never knew that.
I like the Vita TV, but like, I don't know. I just haven't played Vita games in general for a little while. There's some really good Vita games.
Yeah. People keep telling me to get you still said it. I'm like, yeah, if I get money, maybe.
The game's okay.
I'm in a bad spot for this fight. What am I doing? Just Arashimaru sitting here slashing, and then he gets shot in the back 3 times.
I mean, you're dealing with the lesser of two evils. Killing 2 of them and having 1 shoot at you is a lot better than killing 1 of them and having 2 shoot at you.
A better thing
Obviously,
I could...
Obviously, there were better strategies, but if you had to pick between the 2 of those...
That's the thing, I didn't have to pick between the 2 of those. I could just summon White Snake and just be like, you know, take care of all of them. I'll be over here throwing knives. Yeah, my philosophy for this LP is, like, I'll beat the room, but if it's a respawning room, I won't do the fight again, because that's dumb.
That's reasonable. I mean, no! Wrong!
Do the LP right, kill everything.
Unacceptable, we're redoing this recording. This is a live LP.
Oh, man. I actually did, to practice for this part of the LP, I actually did stream this for my blind runs, and, whew, these were hard. When you don't know the full capacities of your characters, holy shit, this DLC is like 10 times harder. Because, not gonna lie, I saved Arashimaru for last because I actually like the story a bunch, but when I started playing him, I'm like, this character fucking sucks. Then I got a handle of everything, and I'm like, Arashimaru's pretty good. Like, if I had to say if any of the characters were quote-unquote the weakest in terms of design, I'd say Okoi's DLC was probably the weakest in general, just because it's basically another main character. Like, the movesets are just 100% Momohime and Kisuke again. You just have, like, 1.5 times more range.
Huh.
Meanwhile, Ganbei is literally playing as ice climbers. Arashimaru is, you are a Danmaku character. And, Rajaki is nuts.
Which one's Rajaki?
The demon kid.
Oh, okay.
Rajaki is pretty wild. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. It's a choice between playing fast and crazy or having the slowest but hardest hitting combos of your life. And I really like hard hitting combos.
When I first played through this game on the Wii, I really struggled with the heavier weapons when playing as, like, Momohime.
Don't worry, everybody does. Longsword is not great.
Except there are certain of the, what is it, the challenge rooms where having the heavy weapons and just, like, slowly spinning across the screen is great.
I was always a short sword kind of guy, and I made do like that. One of my friends tells me longsword is better, but I don't believe him. I also remember watching a guy stream this, and he only ever had short swords equipped. He never used the long swords.
Yeah, like, almost across both characters, like, the short swords are better, but there are certain scenarios where either the skills on long swords or just long swords themselves with their weird attacks can actually be pretty handy.
Yep, that's actually demonstrated in Kisuke Act 6, I think? Because one of his... Because Kisuke Act 6 is, I believe, the Tsuchigumo fight, and one of your longswords that you get at that time has the active skill of just having a quick draw.
Yeah.
And that is really good at just clearing the screen. By the way, I mentioned in the past few DLCs that they really ramp up your soul gains here. We just got like 11 of these big Poe souls for no effort.
Yeah, I've never seen them that closely stuck together in the main game.
Yeah, because these games are basically 1/3 the size of the main game's campaign, so they had to ramp up level games to compensate for that.
Right.
But as a consequence of that, you get really strong really fast. That fight was, what, 5 seconds?
Yeah.
So we're nearing the little warning I put at the beginning of the video where I said the plot starts here, and from there's a lot of plot, almost to a staggering degree. It's a really good story, but there's a reason why this video is almost an hour long.
Like a half-hour cutscene.
Yeah, I think Hideo Kojima was like, hey, can I help out with this?
I got some brooding I need to write.
Yeah, let me just get all this context in for you. It's fine. I'll do all the work. On Arashimaru's comments, I feel like the weird little circular spin, I feel like that's the biggest newbie trap ever just because it's so ineffectual.
It deflects shots, right?
Yeah, I think that's
what you were doing with the ghosts earlier.
I think that's the intended purpose, but like since its default state is non-tilted X, which is something you do a lot, I feel like that's by design, I feel like that's kind of a newbie trap because everybody will be so used to just neutral tapping that when they get to this character, they'll be doing the spin to win and it's not good.
That's interesting. I always like it when like they design characters where just like randomly mashing is a bit of a trap.
Wow.
Was a good clear.
Thanks, Shurahebi. Your curse is great.
I'm gonna die in 7 days. Every time he gets the comment, always just to follow up with that one.
I finally got my revenge. I'm gonna die in 7 days. Arashimaru, it's been 6. I'm gonna die in 7 days.
He's getting like comfy. He's like drinking a cocktail. I'm gonna die in 7 days.
It's been 2 weeks since I hexed you. Well, yeah, strap yourselves in, folks. Get your Doritos, get your Mountain Dew, because oh man, there's a lot of talking coming up.
I'm just gonna replace the next 30 minutes of footage with Call of Duty. I didn't sign up for this.
No. I just kind of turned around and noticed I had a bag of Doritos, so I just said that. Cool.
Turn around behind me and the whole shelf is Doritos.
Hey man, Cool Range Doritos are fantastic. By the way, you really want to prepare for this fight because this boss fight is actually really fucking hard. At the beginning of the level, at the beginning of the game, or for whatever reason, Arashimaru cannot make the 600 HP heal. So go to the starter town, get a bunch of rice, make rice balls. You're gonna need them. I like Master Mumio a lot because he is a total departure from the mythology that we see in Muramasa. Throughout the entire game, we've been seeing Shintoism, Buddhism, Taoism. Here wait, no, this is Taoism, I believe.
It looks like it.
We are suddenly seeing Feng Shui and Taoism, and you're just like, whoa, this is different and cool.
Did they redraw Mumio's sprite?
No.
Or is it just the lighting?
It's the lighting. They probably redrew it to compensate for the lighting, but yeah. Hey, look, it's Jeff! Look at the bottom left, he's there.
I was like looking all around the screen, like up in the top right corner or something. I don't know why.
We just left him hanging. Mumio is a very interesting villain because he's not like all the other ones we've ever seen. Every other villain is either very grandiose, very cunning, very secretive. This guy is just... oh, what's the term I'm looking for? Like, it's a type of cunning, but like, more subdued.
I was gonna say famished, but that's a different thing.
Well, you're not wrong. And yeah, he's not Master Mumio, he's not Soken Konomura. His real name is Sozian. Or Sojan? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Jean.
And yeah, he is a Chinese sleeper agent, I want to say? I don't think that's the right term.
What's that? The Chinese fucking with Japan?
Mm-hmm. He's trying to throw Japan into a destabilization so China could just go in and take over. But, as Shirohebi mentioned, the Ming Dynasty failed a long time ago. Which brings into question, how is this guy still alive? Like, keep in mind, probably when he started his mission he was like 30, and he's been doing his mission for 130 years. Also, there's a bit of a weird localization in here, because in I think in either Okoi or Ganbei's plot they make mention of Japan's shaman, and here Mumio calls them wizards.
I mean, it's technically neither of them. I mean, shaman's probably closer.
Yeah, because Shintoism is basically a shamanistic kind of way. But the localization of the DLCs has always been kind of odd to me. Arxis did a good job at expanding the localization so the plot makes a lot more sense. But then you get to the DLC and there's weird things that show up. There's a lot of strange shifts in jargon, and then you'll have instances where you'll see like a huge block of text and when someone just says, "I."
This is cool and horrifying at the same time.
Yeah, Mumio is very malicious. He's manipulative. He bent the entirety of the Ego clan to his will to try and destabilize Japan, and now he's using the corpses of people Arashimaru has killed to...
Oh!
Look who's here!
Oh, his skull is so messed up!
And he kept the hair, because that's the only way you'd identify him.
Well, yeah, every other ninja was bald. They were just wearing stuff over their head.
Aburata is the only ninja with hair. Wait, that doesn't work, because Arashimaru's here. These skeletons are great. Look at this guy in the back laughing. He's swinging his katana. Also,
the one with his head in his hands was probably the craziest one.
These familiar-looking symbols are back.
God, this backdrop is so good.
Yup. I'm pretty sure that backdrop is supposed to be, what the hell's his name? Fudomio. But I'm not 100% sure.
I'd have to look it up.
Also, something's wrong with Shirohebi. So I'm gonna bring this up a little bit ahead of time, just to see if anyone was paying attention. Does anyone remember what I said about the important plot point during Aruraba's boss fight?
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, there's a plot point in Aruraba's boss fight that's gonna appear here. But yeah, right now we are on the cusp of hell, and the little mist effect that we're seeing right now, that is effectively the insanity mist that would drive anyone insane. Mumio is protected because he's a bullshit wizard, and Arashimaru is kind of protected by Shirohebi, but we're starting to see what that's doing.
Also, Mumio is flying on a cloud of blood or something.
Yeah, it's a saucer of blood, technically. Which is funny because, the final boss fight of Kisuke has that same effect, except not as, animated. And Arashimaru is, only human. Without the protection of Shirohebi, he can't really do much. That's an interesting term we use, nakama. That's like supposed to be comrades or something, but you don't really see that in the subtitle. Here's that plot twist.
Huh.
He stole Aduraba's technique of sacrificing life for power.
That's clever.
Granted, he didn't really steal it so much as Aduraba was screaming it during the fight. But yeah, that's an important plot point here. Because, Arashimaru is not gonna live for long, so he's like, well, why the fuck not? Now, how versed are you in old Japanese mythology? Because this boss is gonna take you back.
I know, like, specks of the mythology.
This is a pretty prevalent one. Like, if you played a bunch of games in the SNES, you'd probably know this boss. But this representation is fucking wild. And yeah, the loot there is actually the loot of the goddess Benjo. Gashadokuro is a very frequently used giant fucking skeleton.
With it's got skulls in it!
Yeah, remember how I said that there's a boss that's a bit more like Legion? This is it! Welcome to the coolest boss fight in the DLC. Holy shit, this is so much fun. This boss fight is 80% skill, and then the last fifth of it is basically a gimmick part of the fight. But listen to this music! This music is wonderful!
Yeah.
Yeah, this boss fight is probably gonna be the most of the video because there's a lot of phases to it. To wit, he's now a tree.
That was a sick animation.
Yeah, if you don't roll during the animation, you will get hit pretty hard. And we had to fight whichever flower is Mumio, and you can tell because he's yellow. Yeah, this boss fight is very involved. Anyways, go on.
The detail on this is great.
Yeah, you could tell that they put almost all of the eggs in their basket for this DLC, because this fight is incredible. Now, once you get past the first phase of the fight, Gashadokuro actually starts getting reactive armor. This comes into play way later in the fight. But because of that, melee fighting becomes a bit riskier with the sickle because it will activate his reactive armor. It's really hard to tell because it's happening in spots that you can't see. But anytime I hit him, that will happen.
And there's like no tell to when to just back off.
It's reactive armor, so the tell is if you hit him not in his weak point, his armor will react and then hit you. But we can exploit this, because one of his reactive armor hits is throw shurikens. And when they throw it, the reflected shurikens go back at Mumio's weak point. However, if you get the slash reaction, then it's not good luck. To wit, you're going to be using the kunai a lot in this fight, so don't forget to level that up. Also, in that part, I actually forgot where his weak point went. But this fight is super involved. It's always evolving. Like right now, because we took off another phase of his life bar, you got 2 new minions. You got these little purple dudes that throw shurikens at you, and then you got this weird little yellow ball that if you go underneath it, a skeleton will slash at you from the sky.
Weird.
Yeah, this fight is mechanically the most interesting and fun I've ever had with Muramasa. It's so crazy. And now the hardest part of the fight, it's the bone waterfall. I have no idea how to remedy this. Like, what I wanted to do was use the sickle geyser to counteract this, but I didn't aim it right, so I just ate shit hard. Now we are
need to repair some of those weapons.
Yeah, I don't have my katamas. I spent all my money on healing items because I knew what I was coming in for. Also, I don't know if this is a thing in Legend mode, but in Chaos mode, if you are fully empty on all your weapons, one weapon will randomly have, like, increasingly sped up repair, so you're not ever out of the fight. Now, in this phase of the tree, there are red petals that summon a death wheel. Because these things, oh man, these things suck. That is the worst phase of the fight ever.
These are some great skeletons.
Yeah, Gashadokuro. In a lot of video games he's always depicted as this doofy skeleton that's just bigger than the rest. Like, a very famous one would be, say, in Castlevania, more specifically the Soma Cruz Chronicles. There's always...
Yes, it's like one of the first bosses you fight.
Yep.
With the giant club.
That is Gashadokuro, and this is Gashadokuro. I think this one's better.
Yes.
But we are in the final phase, and he gets a red mode. This is purely a gimmick part of the fight, because if you attack him anywhere within his ribcage, all of his reactive armor triggers at once. If you stand on top of him, he will do damage to you because as he moves, he emits a shockwave. The only way I found to damage him during this phase is to use the kunai, trigger his reactive armor at range, and then reflect the shurikens back at him. You could also do quick draws if you want to get a burst of damage in, but the best way I found to deal damage here is exploit his reactive armor, because that's the only way you're going to get a consistent hit in. This is also kind of slow.
Meanwhile, there's a fair bit of dodging going on.
Yeah, alongside his red mode, there's going to be a lot more summoned skeletons. There's a lot more katana skeletons. You got the purple shuriken throwers. You got the yellow slashy dudes, and he will eventually summon a blood wheel. And that thing sucks. Holy shit. I hate the red pinwheel skeletons so much. If that thing appears more than once, I am fucked. And like when you fight him for the second ending, he consistently summons those. There will be 4 or 5 on the screen at once, and it's terrible.
Oh, this looks bad.
Yeah, this is dire. Part of the reason why the video is so huge is because I get caught off guard a lot during this fight.
Do you find it easy, because now that you actually can do it in the PS Vita port, do you find it easier to control with the D-pad or the analog stick?
I didn't bother, I used the analog stick. I'd imagine the D-pad is better because I play Odin Sphere with the D-pad.
When I found out you could change the controller mode, I found the game so much easier. It was unreal.
Yeah, I probably should have done that for the LP.
Although honestly, if you're playing on the Vita TV, you're working with a real analog stick, so you're probably fine, right?
Yeah, it's basically the same, but I've noticed that with my controller, I tend to do up attacks a lot more often. The bone thing's back. Oh no.
The bones.
The bone waterfall's back, and even when I do my trademark ability, it's not enough. I got rocked.
It just follows you too, doesn't it? You can't just get out of the whole thing.
Like, even my air skill tech is not enough to deal with this.
What about just like throwing kunai straight up?
The thing about kunais is that it's auto-tracking to nearby targets.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, you said that earlier.
Yeah, even my favorite move, the Spiral of Knives, is not enough. Like, this will test your ability to deal with the fight, because it is so hard. Still not as hard as Ganbei Act 1, but pretty fucking hard. Like, it's kind of a surreal thing when I find a gaggle of crows more threatening than a giant fuck-off skeleton. I was trying to end it with fucking with explosive fragment, but he was on the wrong hand, so I just blow him up with dynamite. That was
a neat boss.
That was my favorite boss fight in the game ever. Gashadokuro is so fun. Now strap yourselves in for the most poetic ending. All the entire thing of Arashimaru not caring was a front. He was actually purely out for revenge. I also like it when the soul was above the monk's face because it kind of looked like he had a chin strap beard.
Oh, removing that guy's face just called a landslide?
Yeah, he was a load-bearing boss.
Uh,
but Arashimaru is the coolest guy ever. He won't die here, right? Yeah, this is looking pretty dire right here. If only this were an action movie. Because, you know, someone would just be here to save the day and make everything better.
punch through the wall.
Dogi! Nope.
Oh, the other door was open. I'm so stupid.
Nope, Shiranui saved us.
Hey, guys, there's an open passageway, but we're dead. We're so dead. Door's open. You can leave whenever you want.
I like this line like here is like, why did I think you were dead? You taught me that trick. By the way, Shiranui was a double agent.
Join me in what? Are you just gonna retire?
Well, he's an agent of the Ogawa clan, so he's just like, well, my mission's done here. You're a pretty cool guy, Arashimaru. I like training you. Want to join me? We could do cool secret agent things together.
We can hang out.
Master and apprentice, it's great. Shiranui's actually a pretty cool guy.
I'll just slap the fucking offer out of his hands while you're at it. Yes, go to the snake woman that will murder you.
Aren't we all pretty now? I do like Shirohebi's character because the neat thing about Japanese divinity is that even though all these gods have magnificent powers, even then they're still not omnipotent. They still have weaknesses, and you kind of see that with Shirohebi. Like, she tried so hard, and even then she was still strong enough to just barely protect you.
I find that with a lot of, like, writing god plots in a lot of, like, JRPGs. They like to write them where, yeah, they just have, like, they have really strong powers, but really weak personalities. Weak in the sense that, like, they don't have a lot of sternness in their actions.
Yeah. Which is why I find Shirohebi so interesting. Like, she is a god and she's committed to this, but even she has his limits. And even then, Arashimaru is still trying to play it cool.
Before I whacked him.
Yeah, like I said, the localization in this game is weird. Using the term whacked in Edo in Genroku era Japan, really? But yeah, Shirohebi's warmed up to Arashimaru.
Apologize for desecrating my shrine, and I will not hang you. This isn't a complicated decision tree.
You'd think that. So Arashimaru is an interesting character to me because after all this, after finally having a new lease on life, he still chooses death. And for a very reasonable reason. Wow, that was poorly worded.
I mean, reasons can be unreasonable.
That's her name, Inakari Hime. I think? Because it's basically Water Princess.
そなた、弟がために死ぬ気でいたのか。
もともと死んでたようなもんだ。
I was already dead. I died at the first episode, remember? But yeah, this plot was really, just really impressed me with this ending, and it's why I was so willing to just grab this DLC and run with it.
It's also like a mostly fully enclosed story, which is weird considering the main storylines for the two main characters. Like, there's a lot of mystery wrapped into it, whereas this, it's like it all ties it up. Or does it?
Yeah, kinda.
I mean, it tries to tie it up a lot better than the main story would.
Also, I like this zoom in here because it's a nice zoom into the sunset, the last sunset Arashimaru will ever see, but it's actually meant to just cover up the fact that they don't have an animation for him dying.
Wait, what's that thing on her neck?
She'll explain it here.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to be some kind of a badass to be so cool to impress a god that actively cursed you for your hedonistic acts. Well, not hedonistic, heretic acts.
Well, that was an emotional scene. Now to deliver the head.
Well, good prediction, because that's exactly what's going to happen here.
She severed the head, or is she just going to deliver the whole body?
You'll see.
This could be pretty gross.
What the fuck is happening here? Yeah, her name is Inaraki.
願いを叶えんがためにこうして現れた。さあ、受け取れ。
Ew!
I love the fact that the ponytail is dangling out, just so that you know it's Arashimaru.
出家、尾形にガイネスムクロの資料と。
And here is the MacGuffin that this entire plot was.
Oh, you shouldn't have thrown that one in. That just makes things worse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's your brother, by the way.
There's the spear.
Well, we thought this thing was stuck in the moon.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that reference to me because I don't know where that came from.
I'll explain it later. It's dumb and obtuse.
Is it an Evangelion reference?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Wow, did dumb and obtuse give that bit away?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, your arch rival was the arch rival, the man you were destined to kill was your brother.
Do not desecrate his remains. Keep his head in a jar. That's not creepy. I'm the water goddess. Goodbye.
I think she means give him a proper burial. Don't like revenge stab his face.
How is it a proper burial if it's just the head?
I don't know.
It's like saying if someone was quartered, each quarter got a proper burial. She's just delivered more problems than solutions.
So, for this cutscene, we play as... this goofball. I love the fact that for all these NPCs, they don't have animations for looking up or down, so if you try to do that, they just freeze in place.
Oh, this could also be gross. Are they gonna find the other half of the body?
No.
Oh, okay.
Also, that little girl in the bottom right, that is actually a kind of... No, wait. Wrong character, never mind. She actually appears in the next DLC, but she is not the teaser for the next DLC. Also, Arashimaru's story has become so legendary that he is now quite literally a myth. And he's such a powerful myth that people pray to his head.
Judging by his character, I don't think he'd be particularly fond of that.
Also, I just now realized the sprite is the same farmer as in Gonbei Act 2.
Oh, I saw it.
Yep. This little kid's so great. She's just like, I lost my little ball, now I'm gonna pray to a decapitated head. And there's the teaser. So in Kisuke's story, they make mention that Yasuhachi gets married out of nowhere. This explains why he gets married and has a family.
Aww.
I was stupefied when I realized they tied that plot string together. For this dork. Sorry, fair maiden, but you're like 90% hair. It's easy to make a mistake. You also made mention that Arashimaru doesn't seem like the kind of character that likes this. So an interesting thing about divinity is that if you have people praying towards you, you gain an element of the divine. So, because of Arashimaru's actions of saving his brother, and Shirohebi's influence of saying give him a proper burial and honor his death, by some freak coincidence, Arashimaru has a following of prayers, and because of that, he's now technically a god.
Cool.
A very minor god, mind you, like he is stuck to this area effectively. But yeah, Arashimaru, hell-bent on revenge, is now just a very bored god. With his snake wife. He's also Batman. There's a reason why people find stuff when they pray at Arashimaru's shrine. Because he just says, well, I'm bored, let's do this.
Angsty little shit, even in death, ain't he?
He's just trying to play it cool, that's all. But yeah, that was the first ending to Arashimaru, and a very poignant story in my opinion. Like, not everything is great. The main character is dead, but it still turned out well in the end. I mean, I'd imagine it'd be better because, like, fucking the main character dies, but he's like, oh, I'm a god now.
Yeah, it seemed like a nice way to tie up what could have turned into a pretty bad ending.
Now, I'm gonna say this right now. For the alternate ending of this game, you have to beat every boss in the main game to get a accessory that alters the ending. Now, I said Ganbei's alternate ending made me kinda crushed. The alternate ending for Arashimaru pissed me off a lot.
日は照るとも絶えずと歌り絶えずと歌り
Is it like one of those spit in the face kind of endings?
A little. It's mainly meant as kind of a cheeky reference, but wow, it is a coin flip of an ending compared to how positive this is.
Oh, actually, I've always wanted this. You might know. Is George Kamitani's first name actually George, or does he just use that as an art name?
I think that's a fake moniker. Kind of like how Suda51 is actually Suda Goichi.
Yeah.
Like, I'd imagine George's name is supposed to be like a kind of like an homage or some kind of alternate way of writing his name, but it's not George. His real name's not George.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it when certain like designers or developers still use like 90s pen names.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
that's right. I remember.
Like it got increasingly less popular over time, but I mean back in the 90s when companies didn't want to get their developers poached because that was a real problem, they give them fake names.
Yeah.
Or like they'd tell them, "Hey, take your name and make something weird with it."
Yeah, like I mentioned Suda51 before, but that's mainly wordplay. But Capcom had a lot of people that would go under crazy pen names. Like, go back and beat Shadows over Mistar and you'll see that.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Or even just like a Mega Man game, they go nuts with those credits. They're almost illegible with the ridiculous names they throw at it.
yeah, I remember Keiji Inafune would go as Inafu King.
Yes.
I know one of the developers of La Mulana. I think his name is shit. Oh,
Duplex?
Not Duplex. It's Duplex, but it's someone else. They go by a different. They have their moniker on Twitter. Let me see if I can find it while the credits are rolling. I think
Like, Elder Zelpud was one of my favorite takes on like developer monikers.
Oh yeah, because it's someone else's name backwards, isn't it?
It's one of the developers, Duplex. It's just his name backwards.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, La Mulana was a fun game.
I'm actually super keen on the sequel because the game is almost definitely going to make more sense.
Yeah. Like, even with the LP I did of that, where I just do a lot of historical talk about the game, it was still kind of up in the air of what happened.
I probably threw it out by now, but I was trying to reverse engineer puzzles in La Mulana that were almost unsolvable because of localization.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, it was weird. I was playing around with like weird, cryptographically solving things in games like Fez and La Mulana without reading certain objects that
You were
straight up
trying
give
to
puzzles away.
You were trying to straight up do a cipher for the puzzle, weren't you? Or
Yeah, I reverse engineered most of it.
wow, that's incredible. Honestly, I thought it
Was a bit of a waste.
I thought it was like a one-to-one cipher of the Japanese alphabet. Also, I pulled up the guy's name. It's Samajima, but he goes by Samaru. Also, back to Muramasa, this was kind of weird. I think by this time of development, they were running a little bit low on things that they could do to be clever in the credits. Because in Okoi's story, during the credits, you got to get a good look at one of the battle backgrounds, which was the Haunted Manor. In Ganbei's story, you actively got to farm during the credits. However, for Arashimaru in the last DLC, they just do the same thing that they did with the main story and do this weird little running animation. That's why I kind of feel like both that Arashimaru and kind of Rajaki were intended to be part of the main story as well during development, but they had to cut costs. Because it seems like they had a lot prepared for these characters, and they even had the ending credits panned out for this thing, but they just couldn't do it at the beginning. Also, take a look at Arashimaru's belt. It is so unusually long for some reason.
I thought he was being tethered by something.
Like, I think the developers wanted to be like kind of like a weird spectral trail since he's like a god now. But right now it just kind of looks like he's on a bungee cord.
Yeah, it's just like the camera's gonna pan to the left and he's just gonna be pulling some cart.
He's pulling Shiro heavy. But yeah, Arashimaru's story, pretty fucking good.
Surprisingly complete story too, as far as the stories in this game go.
Yeah, there was a lot of love put into this. However, if there's a lot of cunning people in the thread that are probably loading up their documents ready and shit to drop drama bombs, if I haven't warned you all already, hold off onto that until the alternate ending, because we're going to see even more insane shit for the story.
Is it also 55 minutes long?
No, thank God. It's only like it's only like 12.
Okay.
But yeah, next time, alternate endings for Arashimaru, and I get really angry. See you folks later.